class is in session, and our boy Itoki is definitely paying attention, except not really. He's staring out the window because, a random ninja chilling on a rooftop is apparently more interesting than algebra. Shocker. One snitchy classmate tattles to the teacher, accusing him of dozing off. But Itoki, being the honor student he is, flexes by solving the math problem instantly. Boom. Class dismissed, ego intact. After school, his friends invite him to karaoke. Tempting, sure, but no, our boy's schedule is booked solid with lessons and cram school. Yep, he's that guy. On the way home, he's followed by Kosetsu, his childhood friend / designated babysitter, because apparently his mom doesn't trust him to walk home like a normal human. Itoki tells her to walk beside him, but nope, she insists on trailing him like a stalker. Totally not weird. Flashback time. His gymnastics coach wants him to go pro in high school because he's talented. Cute, but Itoki remembers he's late for cram school. He dashes off, takes a shortcut, and almost gets hit by anime's favorite villain, a truck. Don't worry, he survives by pulling some Olympic-level parkour. Meanwhile, at the convenience store, we meet Tokisada, professional employee, zero customer service skills. When a customer complains about bugs in her veggies, he basically says, "Ever try deep frying them?" Honestly, not the worst idea. His manager Kozo isn't amused, drags him away, and the others clean up his mess. Eventually, Tokisada gets reassigned to pick up Itoki from cram school. Babysitting duty unlocked. Itoki's still shaken by his near-truck death experience, but Tokisada casually drops. Yeah, the tires just burst, no biggie. Totally normal. That night, family dinner is wholesome for now. The next day, Kosetsu's still tailing him, but Itoki's mind is elsewhere because he finds a love letter in his locker. Plot twist. After school, he meets the sender, Satomi, a younger student who claims she's been watching him. Translation, professional stalker. She even saw him dodge the truck yesterday and confesses. Our boy is officially someone's crush. He heads home, glowing with main character energy, but mom, Yumika, is less than thrilled. She interrogates him like the FBI, then forbids him from dating Satomi because he barely knows her. Itoki, being a teenager, ignores her. Sunday comes, and Itoki meets Satomi for their date. But instead of a romantic stroll, she takes him to her house. Red flag count. 1. She immediately strips and tries to jump him. Red flag count. 2. Nervous, Itoki checks under the bed for pranksters. Oh look, a ninja hiding there. Satomi suddenly pulls out a kunai and goes full psycho. Surprise! She's here to assassinate him. Before things get bloody, Kosetsu crashes through the window like a true action hero and saves him. More ninjas attack. Kozo and Reiha swoop in with a getaway car. But of course, they get chased. Tires burst, car crashes, ninjas everywhere. Typical first date, really. Itoki runs to the city, only to be tricked by a fake cop, who gets his throat slit by ninjas 2 seconds later. He's captured. Things look grim, until Tokisada casually strolls in and asks, "So how was your date?" "Sir, read the room." He then absolutely wrecks the ninjas and rescues Itoki. Later, Itoki wakes up at his family's not-so-humble mansion. Surprise number 2. His mom is actually the chief of the IGA Shinobi clan, and Itoki himself is the next successor. Yep, forget math tests, he's now the heir to a secret ninja village. Oh, and the rival Koga clan? They're powerful, rich, and super salty. They want him dead because, well, anime politics. His mom drops the bomb. "Son, time to become a ninja." Meanwhile, over at Koga HQ, their leader Kido is hyping everyone up for revenge. The IGA killed their old chief, so it's payback time. Eye for an eye, kunai for a kunai. And that's episode 1. After last episode's chaos, Itoki learns the shocking truth. His mom wants him to become a ninja. Naturally, he doesn't believe it. Ninja? In modern Japan? He even suggests calling the police, but Kozo reminds him that real shinobi can outsmart the cops without breaking a sweat. Tokisada then takes Itoki outside and lays down the options: become a ninja or die. Not exactly a gentle career counseling session. But then, Tokisada offers a third choice. He can help Itoki run away until things calm down. He reveals more about Itoki's past. His father was once the IGA village chief, but died when Itoki was little. His mother Yumika wasn't a ninja, but she stepped up and became the leader anyway. Hearing this, Itoki breaks down. He can't abandon his mother. Meanwhile, Satomi and her crew are freaking out. Their plan to kill Itoki failed, and now they're worried about punishment from their own side. Satomi, though, isn't backing down. She's determined to make IGA pay. At Koga HQ, tensions are rising. Housen and Inbai argue about the failed attack, but Kido steps in to shut it down. Fighting among themselves won't solve anything. The next morning, Reiha shows Itoki a video of Kokuten Ninja Academy, the one and only ninja school in Japan. She explains it's under NSC, National Ninjutsu Security Measures Committee, control and has strict security, including dorms where he can live safely. But there's a catch. He has to pass the transfer exam in 2 days. Later, Housen shows up at Yumika's store representing Koga Holdings. He announces that they've taken over Neiman Confections and are raising prices on supplies, squeezing IGA's finances. Yumika has no choice but to agree. At dinner that night, Itoki asks if his father died because he was a ninja. Yumika avoids the question and tells him to just eat. Exam day comes, and Tokisada still doesn't know the location until the last minute. He rushes Itoki and Kosetsu to a Koga service area, where they're secretly running the test. The challenge? A practical hide-and-seek ninja exam. Students are split into hiders and seekers. Simple rules. Hide well or find your target. Kosetsu shows off first and easily wins a round. Then it's Itoki's turn as a seeker, and his opponent? Satomi. Yep, the girl who tried to kill him last week. As the exam starts, Koga ninjas secretly try to assassinate Itoki during the test. Kosetsu warns him to stay alert. If he runs, he'll fail. While Kosetsu fights off attackers, Satomi disguises herself with optical camouflage and goes after Itoki directly. Thinking fast, Itoki grabs a fire extinguisher and triggers the sprinkler system. The water reveals Satomi's location, but time runs out just before he can tag her. The examiner scolds him. He drew too much attention and failed the test. Itoki, however, explains he only did it to protect innocent people in the area. Disheartened, Itoki thinks it's over. Tokisada even jokes he could hide him on a deserted island until the next exam. But then, out of nowhere, word comes in Itoki actually passed. Meanwhile, NSC's Captain Gashigawara confronts Kido about Satomi and her group's attempted murder. Kido claims they were rogue ninjas who'd already disappeared from Koga, but Gashigawara warns him. If something happens again, Koga will pay. Not long after, Satomi mysteriously dies in custody. Elsewhere, Mitsuhashi questions why Itoki passed despite failing the exam. Juzen explains, the word shinobi is written with blade and heart. Without heart, you can't be a true ninja, and Itoki showed heart. Back at the IGA estate, Tokisada reports that Koga may have infiltrated not just the academy, but even the NSC. It's graduation day at Itoki's old school. He says goodbye to his classmates, telling them he'll be moving to a new school in Tokyo. Soon after, Tokisada escorts him and Kosetsu onto an underground train. After 3 hours, they arrive at a chain of islands, home to his brand new school. Not long after arriving, Itoki notices a girl and stares at her until she catches on. She introduces herself as Ryoko Suzunon. Itoki starts to think maybe school life here won't be so bad. But as he wanders off, he accidentally bumps into some Koga students. Before things get tense, another girl steps in, pretending to know him, and pulls him away. She introduces herself as Kirie Kisegawa, and when she learns he's from IGA, she's surprised. Everyone's heard of IGA, even if they've lost influence. She offers to be friends, and Itoki gladly agrees. The school principal, Juzen Jiraibo, welcomes everyone to the new term and reminds them of the 3 ninja principles. Kirie ends up in the same class as Itoki, and he introduces her to Kosetsu. At lunch, Itoki wants to buy food, but Kirie advises him to stick to the ninja meal. If he orders anything too fancy, it might anger the Koga, who hold most of the power. Sure enough, one of them, Himura, gets annoyed when he notices Itoki glancing their way. Suzaku, their leader, calms him down but warns Itoki. Kishimaru, the late Koga chief, was killed by IGA. Kishimaru had been a respected leader working toward peace, and Koga won't forgive his death. Back at the IGA estate, Tokisada questions Yumika about why she hasn't told Itoki more, but she says she's waiting for the truth to come out naturally. Later, Itoki is excited to see his new dorm, but Kirie reveals that the nice building belongs to the Koga. His actual dorm is old and run down. She explains boys stay on the 2nd floor and girls on the 3rd, and she lives there too. That night, Kosetsu visits Itoki's room and tells him to ignore Koga's words and focus on training. The next day, students have combined field training. Their teacher, Kaminami, introduces ninja suits powered by ninja cores. The mission: reach the roof of a tower on a nearby island and bring back 1 manju as proof before the principal eats them all. Most students are familiar with the suits already, but Itoki struggles just to move. Ryoko helps him adjust the suit and eagerly explains its technology, revealing she comes from Saiga Village, which produces ninja tools. Thanks to her help, Itoki finally manages to use the suit. Meanwhile, Suzaku shows his skill by climbing the tower quickly. He clashes briefly with Kosetsu, who manages to keep up, but he questions if her strength is enough to protect Itoki. On another island, Kirie gets cornered by Koga's students who demand her manju. Itoki steps in to protect her, but is badly outmatched. Just as they're about to finish him off, the principal arrives and stops the fight. Later, Itoki surprises Kirai by returning her manju. He managed to steal it back during the scuffle. Itoki continues toward the tower and arrives just in time to see the very last manju. But before he can grab it, Juzan eats it himself, reminding him that a true shinobi needs both blade and heart. The next day at lunch, Itoki realizes other students are avoiding him. The Koga have threatened anyone who talks to him. Despite that, Kosetsu sits with him, and soon Ryoko and Kirai join as well, showing he isn't completely alone. Elsewhere, Tokisada receives new orders: infiltrate Koga. Hayato delivers an update on Kishimaru's murder case. There's no solid evidence yet, but the wounds suggest the weapon was an IGA blade. Because of that, Tokisada Kaga is now under investigation. Shirwan Kazuki is assigned to the case. Hayato tells her that apologies are useless. She'll be tailing Tokisada from now on. When asked how much she knows about him, she admits only his name and rumors. Hayato then shows her surveillance footage. Tokisada fighting so fast that the camera could barely catch his afterimages. Hayato warns her to assume all those rumors are true. Meanwhile, Tokisada visits Gantetsu Susanoo. At school, Kaminami tells the students they'll soon face a written exam on ninja tools. Since this is a weak subject for Itoki, he asks Ryoko for help. Kosetsu and Kirai show up, and Kirai explains the real trick. The exam is actually about stealing the hidden answers before test day. If caught by the teacher, they fail. Relieved that studying isn't necessary, Itoki agrees to work with them to find the answers. Later, Ryoko helps Itoki maintain his ninja gear. He asks if she wants to become a ninja tool craftsman, and she says yes, but her father, leader of Saiga Village, forbids her from succeeding him. He only allowed her to attend the academy if she promised to cut ties with the ninja world afterward. That night, Tokisada drinks with Gantetsu. Gantetsu tries to sell him a toy, but admits IGA doesn't have money to spare. He then explains Saiga is in trouble. Koga has shifted orders overseas, and unless Saiga lowers prices or takes on new projects, they'll collapse. Recently, Inbai Takamine brought blueprints of a mysterious new tool they want Saiga to build. If they accept, Saiga becomes tied to Koga. If not, they're finished. Back at school, Itoki's group makes their attempt. Using Ryoko's drone, Itoki locates the safe, but an accident alerts Kaminami. Kirai distracts her while the others press on. Meanwhile, Tokisada infiltrates the Koga compound, using drones to blind thermal cameras, but notices Shirwan tailing him. Itoki's group finds the safe, only to realize Kaminami had taken the key. As they search, Himura ambushes Kirai, knocking her out. Kosetsu goes after him, while Ryoko opens the safe with her own tools. They manage to get the answers, but Tokisada, failing to find the blueprints, exposes Shirwan to the guards and slips away. The next day, Kaminami begins the exam. But when Itoki and Kirai see the paper, it's completely different. Himura laughs. He had switched the answers before they got them. Thanks to her skills, Ryoko still manages to solve the test. Elsewhere, Inbai Takamine discovers his secretary placed an unusual order with Saiga for 10,000 ninja toys. Furious, he calls Gantetsu, but production has already begun. Tokisada returns to Gantetsu, asking him to upgrade his tools. During their talk, Gantetsu recalls how Kido once approached him seeking a ninja core capable of storing immense energy, something even Saiga couldn't make. Back in IGA, Tokisada tells Yumika his suspicion. Koga is aiming for the legendary secret IGA ninja core. Yumika confirms its existence. It was forged in wartime, but sealed away by the IGA chief because it's too powerful. Only the chief knows where it's hidden. She believes Koga's true goal is starting a war. As punishment for failing the exam, Itoki and his group clean the school grounds. Kosetsu quietly warns Itoki. Someone among them must be a traitor, since Koga knew exactly which safe they were targeting. Meanwhile, Hayato receives another report. They can't prosecute Kido for the assassination attempt on Itoki, as the culprit has taken their own life. He also learns something strange. An autopsy revealed a chip implanted inside Satomi's brain, though its purpose remains unknown. Before his death, Kishimaru tells Suzaku about his dream of creating a world without ninjas. If ninjas exist only to secretly maintain peace, then a world without them would mean true peace. Suzaku admires this vision and vows to support it. At school, Kaminami announces the end-of-term exam, a joint practical test with all classes. She warns it's dangerous, with injuries every year, and sometimes even fatalities. After class, Kosetsu predicts Koga will make a move during the exam. Kirai reminds Itoki that if he skips again, he risks expulsion. Meanwhile, Hayato explains to Shirwan how Kishimaru changed Koga. Once, Koga used financial pressure to swallow other villages, But Kishinmaru sought peace with them instead. He was respected across the ninja world, yet someone killed him. Now, Koga bears a grudge against IGA, and the truth must be uncovered before all-out war begins. At a Koga meeting, Kido allows Enbai to use force to resolve things with Saiga. Later, Kido privately tells Housen that Suzaku is a top student, as talented as Kishinmaru, while he himself couldn't even enter the academy. With his health failing, Kido considers Suzaku a strong candidate to succeed him as Koga chief. Back at the dorm, Kirai tries to organize exam prep, but Itoki leaves, not wanting to drag others into his problems. Ryoko hands him a prototype disguise tool. When paired with a ninja suit, it alters appearance and voice. Kosetsu then declares she will kill Suzaku during the exam. Itoki protests, but she insists this is a ninja's duty, angering him. Later, he meets Juzan, who offers tea and manju. Troubled, Itoki asks if ninjas are just killers. Juzan replies that peace is like a fairy tale, unreal, but too precious to abandon. Ninjas protect that fairy tale by doing the dirty work in the shadows. He recalls that Kishimaru and Hidetoki once asked him the same question, only to reject that path afterward. Itoki leaves, thoughtful. Kosetsu later trains with Itoki, sharing her plan. She will attack Suzaku directly, while he hides until he can take a core. She discards the plan, but someone later retrieves it. That someone is Sisuke, who adapts it into a scheme to kill Itoki. Though others object, Suzaku convinces them to prove their superiority. When the exam begins, the Koga rush to Itoki's supposed location, only to be trapped. Itoki and Kosetsu thank the traitor who delivered their plan, revealing they had counted on betrayal. The student confesses he was forced to comply under threats to his village. Kosetsu then goes to confront Sisuke, but when Himura arrives, the traitor points out Itoki, only for Himura to discover it's Itoki in disguise. Himura reveals he too was disguised as Sisuke. Meanwhile, Kosetsu fights him, only to realize it's Himura in disguise, backed by more Koga. Himura admits Suzaku's plan. Even if Kosetsu is too strong, they'll throw away their lives to defeat her. He then triggers an explosion, drawing Kaminami's attention. Elsewhere, Itoki flees from the real Sisuke, who wounds him repeatedly. Suzaku nearly finishes him, but Itoki refuses to die, warning that killing him will only fuel endless revenge. Using smoke as cover, he counterattacks, breaking Suzaku's core. Collapsing, he tells Suzaku he dislikes him, but doesn't want him to become a killer. Itoki later wakes in bed, surrounded by Kosetsu, Ryoko, and Kirai. Kosetsu, who stayed by his side despite her own injuries, finally falls asleep. The others explain she swore to kill all of Koga if anything happened to him. Meanwhile, Himura lies hospitalized with the rest of Koga, furious at Suzaku for sparing Itoki. Shirwan continues tailing Tokisada and follows him into his secret facility. Through air ducts, she sees scientists working with Kishimaru's body and other preserved parts. Suddenly, Tokisada appears before her. They leave together, and when Shirwan asks why he let her see this, he replies simply, "Do your job yourself." Later, Kirai visits Sisuke. She notes that many of her dorm mates have stopped coming to school and suspects it's his doing. Afraid, she begs him to spare her. Suzaku tells her she still has things to do. Kirai agrees to obey, calling him master. During summer break, Kirai and Ryoko visit the IGA. Yumiko welcomes them but regrets Saiga's downfall, caused by a suspicious fire that forces them to rely on Koga. At his father's grave, Itoki learns more about his father's ideals and Tokisada's lingering guilt. Yumiko reminds him that ninjas often carry sins for missions. Meanwhile, Kirai secretly reports to Suzaku that she has infiltrated IGA. Suzaku asks to fight on the front line when Koga attacks, embracing rage over Kishimaru's ideals. Shirwan tells Hayato that Koga is experimenting with Kishimaru's body and may attack IGA, but Hayato dismisses it and tells her to keep tailing Tokisada. Itoki spends time with Kirai, Ryoko, and Kosetsu fishing for a festival. Kirai recalls her harsh upbringing as a freelance ninja and admits she's like a decoy fish, meant to draw others' hatred. Itoki thanks her for always supporting him. The group later joins the IGA villagers in preparing for the annual feast honoring the former chief. Tokisada explains how Yumika's leadership kept the village together and how she raised Kosetsu. At the feast, the villagers celebrate Itoki's place among them. Flashbacks show Yumika stopping Tokisada from seeking revenge after Hidetoki's death, urging him to protect the village instead of chasing hatred. Elsewhere, Kirai tries to follow Itoki and Yumika, but is stopped by Kozo, who reassures her that Itoki is smiling again thanks to his friends. She later reports nothing new to Suzaku's side. Meanwhile, Hayato secretly meets Juzan and pushes for sealing the academy and calling a ninja Grand Council. Yumika reveals IGA's greatest secret to Itoki: the Ninja Core, sealed away with its location known only to the IGA chiefs. Once his name is inscribed on a registry scroll, he will be recognized as a true IGA ninja. As summer break nears its end, Itoki wonders aloud when one truly feels like a ninja. Kosetsu answers that one day it simply happens. Soon after, Kozo informs him that the academy is temporarily closing due to the large number of student absences. News arrives of a rare ninja Grand Council being called, the first in 70 years, summoning 13 clan leaders to decide the future of all ninja in Japan. At the NSC, Hayato warns members to be vigilant with all village heads gathering in one place. Shirwan grows uneasy, feeling Hayato keeps too much from them. She joined to do what is right, but now cannot even define what that means. Hayato tells her to focus on her duties until she finds her own answer. When the council begins, Yumika arrives last with Kozo and Tokisada. Hayato opens the session, but Kozo notices Saiga's absence. Housen explains Saiga has fallen under Koga's control and withdrawn. He also reveals the same for Fuma. Their proxy, Kisuke Ninakuru, speaks in their place, though another leader, Yachio Mochizuki, laughs, claiming Kisuke has been the true Fuma head for centuries. Hayato moves straight to the point, accusing Koga of endangering peace. While Kuroda Dazai dismisses this as an IGA-Koga feud, Hayato presents evidence. Saiga has vanished from official records, smaller villages are disappearing, and academy withdrawals are abnormally high. He asks the council if Koga has acted against their clans, but most deny it, some reluctantly. Yumika then speaks. She denies IGA's involvement in Kishimaru's death and presents photo evidence that Koga is developing a new ninja weapon and seeking IGA's ninja core. She declares that if the core risks igniting war, IGA will destroy it to prevent further bloodshed. While Kisuke mocks her, saying scheming and killing are shinobi's true way, Yumika rejects that as the past, insisting ninjas must now protect harmony instead of chasing glory. Her words inspire others to confess their own suffering. Seimin Katori of Baizen reveals his clan has been shattered by Koga, his grandmother even taking her life in despair. Iboro of Hachiya explains how Koga exploited their fragile entertainment-based livelihood, leaving him to support the village alone. One after another, chiefs admit Koga aggression. Hayato then calls for Kito's arrest under suspicion of violating the ninja ordinances. Kito accepts without resistance. Housen asks about Kishimaru's murderer, but Hayato admits the investigation is ongoing. Suddenly, Genji arrives with evidence. He shows a blurry recording that contains audio, claiming it matches IGA's ninja core frequency and proves IGA killed Kishimaru. Using this, he calls for Yumika's arrest. She agrees to go peacefully, vowing to prove IGA's innocence, and entrusts Tokisada with telling Itoki to protect their village. Later, Kozo and Tokisada inform the IGA of what happened. Itoki gathers the entire clan and declares that someone must act as chief until Yumika returns. He volunteers, and the clan accepts. Meanwhile, Inbai rallies the Koga, declaring Yumika's arrest an act of war and calling for IGA's annihilation. At the NSC, Hayato tasks his team with interrogating the Koga and IGA leaders, keeping his own mission secret. Shirwan resents his lack of trust, but Hayato tells them to act according to their own justice. Later, he re-examines Genji's video, noticing something unusual, only to be stabbed from behind by Genji, who is disguised in Koga's latest ninja suit. Elsewhere, Genji visits Yumika in her cell and coldly sentences her to death. In his cell, Kito recalls his painful past. Born sickly, he endured countless experiments and surgeries just to survive as Koga's chief. At times, he wished ninjas didn't exist at all, so he wouldn't have had to suffer so much. At an NSC meeting, Genji declares that with Hayato missing for 72 hours, he will take full authority as acting head. Shirwan argues that Hayato is simply on a solo mission, but Genji insists Division 2 will search for him. He then announces Kito's release, while Yumika has been found guilty and will be executed. To everyone's surprise, he also appoints Shirwan as captain of Division 1, succeeding Hayato. Shirwan confides in her team that she believes Genji is behind Hayato's disappearance. Though she doubts herself as captain, Division 1 pledges to investigate the truth. Meanwhile, Genji escorts Kito to Yumika. Kito proposes a deal: hand over IGA's secret ninja core. He claims the core is the progenitor of all ninja cores, a limitless energy source that could revolutionize ninja society if combined with modern technology. Yumika refuses, but Genji warns her that her execution is scheduled for tomorrow, leaving her one night to reconsider. Back in IGA, Tokisada receives word of Yumika's execution and gathers the clan. Some want to storm the NSC, but Koza warns that such a move would pit them against all villages and doom IGA. Tokisada then asks Itoki to expel him so he can go save Yumika alone. Before Itoki can answer, Kosetsu steps forward, blade drawn, demanding expulsion too, so she can join the rescue. Instead, Itoki thanks them both and refuses to cast them out. He declares that they will save Yumika together as IGA ninjas. He orders preparations while urging everyone to avoid needless killing and assigns others to gather evidence of Yumika's innocence. At Koga, Kido instructs Inbai and Housen to summon the executives. Suzaku reports that Kirai informed him Tokisada left IGA to rescue Yumika, leaving the village vulnerable. Seizing the opportunity, Suzaku requests to join the front line, and Kido approves despite Housen's objections. At the executive meeting, Inbai reveals that more Azura units than expected have been deployed. Combined with Koga soldiers, they now field nearly 10 times IGA's strength. She also confirms Tokisada is absent from IGA. Housen strongly opposes the invasion, supported by several executives. He argues the Azura are still incomplete, and exposing Koga in a full-scale war could backfire. Though Kido admits Housen is likely right, he suddenly shoots him, declaring that Koga has no place for cowards. At IGA, reports come in of gas leaks, signs of Koga's attack. Kozo rushes to Itoki, confirming a large-scale invasion is underway. At the checkpoint, the guard Shige spots incoming Koga vehicles, activates defenses, and opens fire. While some vehicles are destroyed, the Azura emerge unscathed and storm the checkpoint. Shige proudly proclaims he will die a shinobi's death and detonates the entire defense post, wiping out 21% of Koga's detected forces. Still, the surviving Azura advance, clashing with IGA ninjas. Meanwhile, Tokisada and Kosetsu infiltrate the NSC, freeing Yumika. On their way out, however, they are intercepted by Genji and his men. Elsewhere, Suzaku receives a secret call. The caller warns that Kido murdered Suzaku's father and that his own life is also in danger. Before he can learn more, the caller is killed mid-conversation, and the line goes dead. Kozo and Reiha brief Itoki on the situation. Around 250 Koga ninjas and their robotic soldiers, while IGA only has 48 frontline fighters. Meanwhile, Tokisada tells Kosetsu to take Yumika and escape. He will stay behind to confront Genji and his squad. Back at IGA, Itoki wonders why Koga is holding back instead of launching a direct assault. He orders the ninjas to watch the mechanical soldiers carefully and report any strange behavior. Ryoko then requests that someone capture a unit for her to examine. At Koga's camp, reports come in. 29% of the Azura units have been destroyed, though there are no human losses. The officers predict IGA will fall within the hour. Back at IGA, Tsun delivers a captured Azura unit, and Ryoko immediately starts analyzing it. She concludes the machines burned through energy too fast, barely an hour of operation at most. Shiota then reports a strange incident. One Azura nearly killed him, but suddenly retreated, only for another to take its place. Itoki realizes the energy shortage is the flaw, and that Koga must be after IGA's secret ninja corps to solve it. Ryoko reasons the machines must rotate to and from a charging base, likely hidden inside a transport facility. Reiha narrows down 5 possible locations. With no scouts available, Itoki volunteers to investigate himself, and Ryoko insists on joining. Kirai claims she's useless and excuses herself, but Itoki reassures her they'll play by the river again when this is all over. Torn, Kirai secretly reports to Suzaku, hesitating whether to betray Itoki or not. Elsewhere, Tokisada defeats Genji's squad, but Shirwan arrives. Genji orders her to capture Tokisada, but she instead declares Genji under arrest. She reveals that Koga ninjas were caught trying to burn Hayato's body at an NSC-owned crematorium, making Genji the prime suspect for his murder. Tokisada seizes the moment, choking Genji unconscious. As he leaves, Shirwan orders her agents to focus on stabilizing the NSC instead of pursuing him. At Koga, word spreads of Genji's arrest and Tokisada's return to IGA. Inbai grows impatient. Despite overwhelming numbers, IGA still stands. He demands the commanders crush the village in 30 minutes. No excuses. Meanwhile, Kosetsu and Yumika hear the news of the assault and race back to IGA together. Itoki and Ryoko locate the charging base. When a large group of Azura departs, they move in. Ryoko arms grenades, explaining she can briefly jam the machines for 10 seconds, just enough for Itoki to reach the core system. The jamming works, but Himura intercepts Itoki. Ryoko attacks from behind, giving Itoki a second chance, but the Azura reactivate and capture them both. One machine seizes the grenades, then unexpectedly runs to the core and plants them. Realizing what's happening, Itoki detonates the grenades, triggering a massive explosion. When the smoke clears, Ryoko drags Itoki to safety. He approaches the machine that helped them, only to see Kirai beneath the disguise. Back at Koga, commanders learn of the base's destruction. Without functioning Azura, they conclude they cannot crush IGA and order a retreat. At an SC, Sherwon interrogates Genji, pressing if he killed Hayato under Koga's orders. Genji stays silent, demanding a lawyer. Sherwon mocks him, revealing the captured Koga agents admitted they were only hired to burn Hayato's body. Back in IGA, Yumika and Kosetsu reunite with Kozo and Reiha. Suddenly, Genji's jutsu takes effect. Kosetsu falls under his control, turning her blade on Yumika. Yumika gently unmasks her, seeing her daughter bite her lips in resistance. She tells Kosetsu she knows how hard she's fighting and that she will always be her child, no matter what. Kosetsu collapses under the strain, but in the struggle Yumika is mortally stabbed. Moments later, Itoki and the others arrive, only to find Yumika lying in a pool of blood and Kosetsu standing over her with a bloody kunai. After Yumika's death, Reiha tells Itoki they must complete the formal rites. He must now become the official chief of IGA. Meanwhile, Tokusada keeps Kosetsu restrained. Though she insists she doesn't remember everything, all signs point to her as Yumika's killer, and Itoki will need to decide her fate. Haunted, he recalls how they tried to save Yumika, but failed. At Koga headquarters, Inbai proudly reports the destruction of the Hachiya troop, Baizen, and Kuroabaki. With those clans annihilated, he proposes recalling the scattered troops. Back at IGA, Itoki is formally declared the 19th chief. Some urge revenge for Yumika's death, execution for Kosetsu, and a counterattack while Koga's forces are spread thin. Reiha argues this might be their only chance, but Itoki asks to delay the decision until after his mother's funeral. Later, Ryoko tells Itoki her father finally contacted her, and she must return home to visit him in the hospital. Kirai volunteers to leave as well. Ryoko still wishes to attend Yumika's funeral, though Kirai seems unsure if she can. Meanwhile, Sherwon visits Tokusada. She explains Genji is now in confinement, and NSC founder Juzan Jiraibo has stepped in as provisional head. She provides reports on Genji's ties to Koga, including a registry that lists Kosetsu. She questions what her connection to Koga truly is. After Ryoko and Kirai depart, Tokusada takes Itoki to see Kosetsu, bound to keep her from hurting herself. Sobbing, she says all she remembers is a bell in her head, fragments of action, and finally waking covered in blood. She begs them to kill her, claiming she has no reason left to live. Tokusada, however, explains what he has pieced together. Koga has been implanting microchips into children to control them. He saw the same in Satomi Tsubaki, who once tried to kill Itoki. Itoki insists she isn't guilty, she was controlled. But Kosetsu breaks down, calling herself her mother's killer. Tokusada counters, saying if she had struck the fatal blow, Yumika's wound would look very different. Kirai, meanwhile, returns to her father, Kisuk Ninakuru, to deliver her report on IGA. But Kisuk suddenly stops her. Koga assassins surround them. He tells her that sides no longer matter. What matters is ensuring Fuma's survival. Shocked, Kirai realizes her father has betrayed her. But Kisuk gives her a kunai, opens a secret passage, and pushes her to safety. At the hospital, Ryoko visits her father. Gantetsu lies in bed, his right arm gone. He explains Koga worked them brutally, and when he complained, they used him as an example, cutting off his arm. At Yumika's funeral, Itoki lingers in front of her altar. Suzaku appears, paying his respects. He asks Itoki how it feels to lose a parent. Itoki sees but stays silent, prompting Suzaku to call him a coward. Finally, Itoki strikes him, shouting that of course he is devastated, but asks what good vengeance would do. Would it bring peace? Suzaku, bitter, replies that his father was killed for opposing Kido, and though he doesn't know Koga's ultimate goal, fighting is all he has left. Later, Suzaku returns home. Looking at a framed photo of his father, he notices something hidden behind it, a flash drive. On it, he watches recordings of Kishimaru confronting Kido. Kishimaru accuses Kido of creating something monstrous, warning it will only lead to ruin. Kido insists they share the same ideal, a world without ninjas. But unlike Kishimaru, who was blessed and loved, Kido knew only pain. He will kill all ninjas. Meanwhile, Kozo hands Itoki a letter from Kido, an ultimatum. Hand over the secret core and vacate IGA. Kozo sees it as a declaration of war, urging action. But Itoki hesitates, unwilling to drag IGA into bloodshed. That night, Itoki kneels before his mother's altar. He wonders aloud if they could ever have lived normal lives as they once dreamed. He promises to protect the things she cherished, but also his own. Resolute, he tells her he has chosen his own path. Turning to Tokisada, Itoki asks for his help to see it through. Itoki gathers the IGA ninja and announces his decision. He will hand the secret ninja core to Kido in exchange for IGA's autonomy. The clan is outraged, convinced that Koga will never honor such a deal. But Itoki refuses to back down, and Tokisada publicly declares his support. In Koga, Inbai fumes at the restrictions. He urges Kido to reject the deal, but Kido replies they cannot fight in SC openly. Instead, he orders preparations for a second assault on IGA and plans to seize the core before replying to an SC. Back in IGA, Reiha reports to Itoki that Koga has not responded. Meanwhile, Kirai searches Saiga village for Ryoko, only to find it burned down. In a hidden basement, she discovers Ryoko working on a ninja tool. Kirai reveals her father is dead, but admits she felt nothing. He trained her to lie and betray for Fuma's survival, yet Koga betrayed him in turn. Elsewhere, Suzaka contacts Kido. He claims to have found a hidden recording his father left behind and offers it as proof of loyalty, begging for a place to die as a Koga ninja. Kido, intrigued, agrees to send men to collect him and assigns his to join the second IGA assault. In IGA, Kozo and the others confront Itoki. They reject both expulsion and surrender of the core. Instead, they demand that Itoki step down as chief and let the clan defend itself together without a leader. Itoki refuses, warning that continued resistance will result in expulsion. Meanwhile, Koga assassins ambush Suzaku, but he defeats them and learns the timing of the upcoming assault. Kirai then returns to IGA, hoping to see Itoki. Tokisada intercepts her. She asks him to deliver her apology for lying and spying, but Tokisada already knows she used her bird for sending intel. Later, while Tokisada departs on a mission, Kozo and other IGA decide to confront Itoki directly and seize the core. Their traitor alerts Kido, who orders the core taken before Kozo can act. The traitor, Reiha, slips into Itoki's chamber. Kozo arrives soon after, shocked to see her there. Kozo recalls Itoki's earlier words, that Kosetsu didn't kill Yumika, but a traitor did, and that uncovering the traitor was Itoki's highest priority. When Kozo asked why Itoki trusted him, Itoki answered simply, because everyone else trusted Kozo, and if Kozo were the traitor, at last, Kozo asks Reiha why she betrayed them. She replies bitterly that IGA is weak and poor, giving her nothing, while Kido promised to save her husband. Before she can be captured, she swallows poison and collapses. As others rush to save her, Kozo finds letters from Itoki. In them, Itoki apologizes for deceiving his people. He explains he needed to expose the traitor. Though he once hoped for peace, he now understands it is impossible. Tokisada's investigation into House and Band's death and Suzaka's footage reveal Kido's true objective, the extermination of all ninja. Itoki writes that by the time the letters are read, Koga will already surround IGA. He begs the clan not to fight, but to scatter and survive. As long as IGA ninjas live, their legacy endures. Tokisada and Kosetsu follow Itoki to Koga. He orders them to turn back, but both refuse. Tokisada reminds him that he already cut ties with IGA, and Itoki is no longer his chief. Earlier, Itoki had told Kosetsu that Yumika's greatest joy was watching her children live their lives freely. He asked if knowing that Yumika was watching her now was enough reason for her to live. At Koga's headquarters, Inbai informs Kido that the second assault on IGA will begin at midnight and finish within 30 minutes. Soon after, Itoki, Tokisada, and Kosetsu arrive. Surrounded by Koga ninja, they face Inbai, who activates the Azura units. He tries to summon reinforcements from IGA. They are confronted by Inbai and his son Himura, but Suzaku arrives, stepping in to face them alone so Itoki and Kosetsu can continue. At last, Itoki and Kosetsu reach Kido. Seeing the core strapped to Itoki, Kido listens as he lays down his terms. Meanwhile, Suzaku subdues Himura and confronts Inbai about Koga's future after the Azura slaughter every ninja. Back in the chamber, Kido admits he killed Yumika simply because she was in his way. He declares his wish to wipe out ninjas because they are an eyesore. He charges. Kido raises his weapon, but Kosetsu suddenly strikes, giving Itoki an opening. Their blades clash. With the power of the ninja core, Itoki drives Kido back. Elsewhere, Suzaku defeats Inbai and Himura, but is badly wounded. Tokisada finds him, asking if he can hold on until NSC arrives. Suzaku insists on pressing toward Kido. In the final clash, Itoki forces Kido to the ground. Kido sneers that he feels no guilt. Itoki is too merciful to kill his parents' murderer, while Kido is merciless enough to kill an infant. but Tokisada suddenly appears and stabs him. NSC forces burst in as Kido collapses. Tokisada claims responsibility, telling Itoki he doesn't need a babysitter anymore. Years later, Sherwon visits Kozo, who says IGA and Koga maintain a fragile peace. No word has come from Tokisada. Ryoko works with her father, while Kirai has become an actress, using her talent for lies to make people happy. Suzaka now serves as Koga's chief. At Yumika's grave, Kosetsu reflects that Itoki has started his first job, though she jokes he might quit in 3 days. At a train station, Itoki saves a boy from falling onto the tracks. When the boy asks if he's a ninja, Itoki smiles and replies that ninjas don't exist.